Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Kim's Cozy Corner. I'm Kim, and I'm going to continue working on my fall garden cleanup, and I thought I'd bring you along with me. As I'm working on the fall garden cleanup, one of the things that I always struggle with is being close enough to the ground. And I have this toddler's toy that I roll all over the garden in, but someone gave me a different product to give it a try. I know everybody wants the little thing that I roll around in the garden with, but it's not something you can buy anymore. The toddler's toy is probably more than 20 years old at this point in time, and I've looked for it and I can't find it. But I had this sent to me, and we are going to take a look at it and see if we can use it in the garden. So it has a knee pad, it's got some gloves, a couple things to hold tools on the side. It's called a garden kneeler seat. It's got a user guide here, but let's see if we can, it might not need to be put together. It may already be put. Okay, here we go. Let me figure out, so I got to put the handles on it. So I got it upside down. It goes this way. These slip over the sides like this. This is from DeerFamy. It's from DeerFamy is the name of it. So we are going to go give this a try as we work in the garden. It doesn't have wheels on it, so we can't roll around the garden, but again, that's not even an option in today's world. But let's see if this is the next best thing. So let's get in the garden and start cleaning up some of those plants and vines that are done for the year. Now this toddler toy right here is what I usually use. It rolls back and forth, but it's a toddler's toy, 20 years old. And unfortunately, I can't make any recommendations on how to get this. So let's take a look at this new stool that I have for the garden as I'm cleaning up my cucumbers. So if I look at the height of this, and I got my tools, so I'm gonna put my tools in the pockets here. It's very lightweight, so I can move around in it pretty easy. So to be able to pick it up and move down, it's not a big deal. So that's not too bad. Honestly, it's a little high for me, but it might be perfect for everybody else because I'm so short. I like to be closer to the ground, and this is a little high for me, but it's super light. I can put my tools right here in the sides, and I think it's going to work. So let's just use it today as I take care of these plants. The one thing that I hate doing is fall garden cleanup. I absolutely hate doing it. And I usually don't do a good job with it. I'm usually still trying to clean this mess up in the spring, especially last year. Last year, as I was trying to do garden cleanup, unfortunately, my family had been in a car accident, and it kind of took me away from the garden at the end of the season. So I was unable to do proper garden cleanup. And so this year, since the cucumbers are done, I'm going to try to get them cleaned up now while I'm home, because I'm not always home. So I have to take advantage of this time being home. Now, this is the first year that I've used these cattle panel trellis, and I love these trellis. I installed them back in the early spring. Actually, I don't even think it was spring yet. It might have been late winter. And if you're interested in these types of trellis that I have right here, I have a couple videos on how to install cattle panel trellis, including how to build arches and everything like that with it. I'm going to be honest with you, I love it. It's a good solution for trellising your plants. And I've had the best harvest this year on all of my tomatoes and cucumbers. I'm like, this has been just an amazing season. And it's the season that I use this type of trellising. We slide my little seat down. I have tomatoes growing over here in the walkway. They just as happy as they can be. But we can't do anything with tomatoes in the walkway right now. They are not going to make it. I'm pulling everything up, including these flowers that aren't going to make it. Now that flower looks pretty good. I'll leave that one. My goal was to get rid of the cucumbers. On the back of this bed, I have peppers. They are still producing, so we will leave them in place. And we will just focus on the cucumbers and this side of the bed. The chair is doing pretty nice, the little stool here. When you're in the process of putting your beds, away for the end of the season, in order to keep from having weeds grow up in your beds and that kind of stuff, you really should put mulch on your beds. It's a little early to mulch my beds because the trees haven't started, the leaves haven't started turning just yet. But I know I'm not going to put anything else in this bed. There's a little bit of mulch already in it, so we're going to try to use the mulch that's in it to take care of this side of the bed. This is not my favorite part of gardening. I don't care for the cleanup side of it, but it's a very important part of the gardening season. Oh, I hate to say goodbye to my cucumbers. It's time to start saying goodbye to the tomatillos. So most of the tomatillos are falling to the ground here, and I'll be able to take those in for the ones I didn't let get too ripe anyway. If you haven't watched any of my videos, and this is the first time that you're joining Kim's Cozy Corner, in order to grow tomatillos to make that wonderful green salsa verde, you need at least 2 tomatillo plants. At a minimum, you need 2. But for a family of 6, you don't need 8. And I have at least 8 over here, which was way too many. But I was able to gift quite a bit of the tomatillos to others, made some nice salsa, and at least I don't have to spend money in the store and buy the processed stuff. So it still was a win-win for the house. I probably won't grow tomatillos next year because when I think about the amount of green salsa that I eat, and my daughter has moved to another state, so I'm not cooking for her anymore. So my family of 6 is now a family of 4. With the family of 4, I don't think I'm going to need to preserve as much food as I have been in the past, but I don't waste any food. I don't believe in being wasteful. So I can grow something else in this space instead of tomatillos next year because I have enough salsa verde to last me easily 2 years. And that's even if my daughter comes to visit or whatever, or wants to take some back to where she moved to. I still have plenty. So we won't grow tomatillos next year. I'll probably grow a few starts to just sell at my garage sale for others, but I don't have a need for them next year. So these black discs are called Mighty Crop. And you can see they were holding up all the different vines of the tomatillos in the garden. I enjoy this type of trellising. I have multiple types of trellising in the garden, but I do enjoy this type of trellising as well. So if you're interested in this type of trellising, I got it off of Amazon and it's called Mighty Crop. You might want to check it out for your garden next year. I like to get all of my supplies and equipment and everything in the fall, so I'm ready to go in the spring. Oh, I had started talking about my family. So I have traditionally been a family of 6. I'm down to a family of 4. My daughter has moved to another state and my sister has as well. So that puts me down to just a family of 4, 2 children and 2 adults. And so my garden is going to be a little different next year as far as what I grow, because I try to grow what people like. Not just what I like, but what others like in the family as well. So I can allot more room for my mother and her okra next year. I can focus on more tomato dishes. So if you thought I had a lot of tomatoes this year, just wait for it. Next year it's going to be even more. Now I have a lot of beds, and some of the beds will be used for my fall garden, and others we are going to just go ahead and put to bed because I don't need them in the fall. For my cool season crops, mostly I plant lettuce and brassicas, so your cabbage, your broccoli, and what is cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, those, and there's a few carrots in there. That's what I've already planted. So I have those in the garden starting to take off, but I don't need this many beds. And this bed was done, so let's get it cleaned up. That's how I think about things. Hopefully I don't break my neck trying to clean up the garden. I think we will keep these zinnias for now. There's still some very beautiful flowers on the zinnia plants. But I believe this bed is done. I just need to pick up my tomatillos and get them in the house. Let's see if we can do any other beds today. Okay, I think I'm ready to pull these collards up. And I'm back on my little trusty seat here from DeerFamy. And nice little seat. It keeps me up off the ground a little bit here. But let's get these collards out. Now these collards I could have left in here longer. They've been in here for 4 months. I've been harvesting off of them for quite a while. Last weekend I harvested off of the collard greens, and I just went ahead and cooked the collard greens. And my plan was to cook them, maybe eat off of them for a day, and then maybe freeze them for a later time because I didn't think we were going to be home to really eat on the greens. And so I cooked the greens the way I always cook the greens. And my girls ate all those greens. I don't have anything to put up. It's been a minute since we've actually eaten greens, so that's probably why they enjoy them, because we've been eating so many green beans. So they're all gone. Nothing went to waste. So that's always a good thing. Typically this time of year, I'm planting more collard greens for the fall because your collard greens actually likes a light frost. It makes them sweeter, but I have every bit of your supply already put up. So we will not be planting more in this space this year. We will wait and plant more in the spring. So one more bed that I'm going to get cleaned up, and one more task I won't have to worry about. in the winter or for fall cleanup later in a couple of months or so. Or a warmer bed I won't have to worry about in the spring if I don't get to it this fall. Now my little helpers will come and clean up all of this stuff that I'm pulling out the garden and get it taken care of for me. So I don't have to worry about that part of it. Now in this bed, I still have my cherry tomatoes in the back. I still have peppers down the side here. And in the front, I have what's supposed to be self-blanching white cauliflower, but that's not it. It's some other type of leaf. And everywhere where I planted cauliflower, it's that same plant. So I believe my seeds were mixed up. I don't think it's anything I did. I think they got mixed up back at the manufacturer, the place where I purchased the seeds from. But we're going to let it grow. We'll find out what it is. But we're going to clean everything else out of this bed, at least on this side. Behind the tomatoes, I have leeks growing, and some of them are nice size and some of them are kind of puny, but we will leave those in along with the tomatoes and let them keep doing their thing. Slide our little seat down. Very light. It moves easily with me. All right, I'm at the same bed. I'm just over on the side of the bed. There's a few weeds over here. We'll get these pulled up as well. Yeah, when we get to this time of year, nobody likes to do this. And a peanut. Of course there's a peanut shell. My wonderful, wonderful squirrels and their peanuts. But let them have their peanuts. Just leave my stuff alone. So these were cucumber plants, and they've been done for a long time. It's going to feel good not to have to go through so much of the jungle. Let me reach in a pocket to get my nice little tools. Uh-oh. I done lost my tools. There they are. So we're going to go ahead and take this marigold out. I'm probably going to make the bees very upset removing these marigolds. The bees have been very, very happy this year. Okay. Whew. Let's move down to the other ones. And these have some of the thickest stems I've ever seen. We will not be putting marigolds here next year. This was not a good home. It created a jungle. I couldn't get into the space hardly at all. So we will find different plants, if any, to go in and around my, oh, there's a flower there, to go around my rhubarb. There's a flower in there that I didn't plant. Yeah, I didn't take into account just how big those marigolds were going to get in this space here. But you live and you learn. And I have trees growing like crazy in this bed. This bed has been kind of out of sight, out of mind, because the rhubarb, I'm not supposed to harvest it this year since I just planted them this year. And so didn't really come back here much. But here's my rhubarb. I think it's really established very well. And I will be harvesting off of these 2 rhubarb plants next year. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do from a bed cleanup standpoint. I have a nice little seat here that fits in between my very narrow beds that I've used. We've cleaned up, what, 2, 3, 3.5 beds out of all of these beds that need to get cleaned up. At least I've gotten started. So that's it for the garden cleanup today. If you're interested in this little seat, it's called a DeerFamy, F-A-M-Y, DeerFamy. Here's a picture of it on Amazon if you're interested in it. I don't have a coupon code or anything like that, but I wanted to make sure that you have a link to it if you're interested in it. And it's very comfortable. It's light to pick up and slide down your raised beds or work around towers or whatever setup you have. I think it'll work for you. And I'm going to call it here. I hope you enjoyed this video. Garden cleanup is another part of that gardening season that we have to go through. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel and you get to see everything I do from where I plant seeds all the way up to I'm harvesting, and now we're on the back end with garden cleanup. Until next time, I will see you back here again really soon. Bye.